Hello friends, this is Richard the Warlock here. Okay, it's been a while. That's vape. It's not wisp if it picks up. Probably not going to be able to because it's going to be all dark. But yes, I'm here once again. It's been a while to do the darker side of spirituality videos. Dun dun dun. Yes, I am one of the people who likes to call out the bullshit in the community, if you want to call it that, and practicing stuff like that. So I've been meaning to do one of these for a while. But due to circumstances, it would have been a little bit too sensitive at the time. So I'm going to be focusing on mediums today, okay? I am effectively a medium myself, but I class myself as a psychic now because I don't really get spirit messages. Now, what this is all about, and I have mentioned this a few times in different videos and posts and stuff like that if you do follow me, but it is about a growing trend of mediums who are losing their abilities, in my opinion, and I do have to say this is my opinion, okay, you can believe what you want, okay, okay, and it is, everything I say is going to be generalised, okay, I'm not going to name any names unless it's people I'm kind of saying that they're good, okay, so just bear that in mind. Okay, so I have noticed since joining this community in this world, that there is being a big shift. Okay, now because of the ascension process, if you don't know what that is, please go to my YouTube, give it a follow. It will be in the Spirituality 101 playlist. Okay, I go through some terms and stuff like that. Okay, I do these videos because I'm learning and developing myself, and if anything I come across I think, well, that might be quite interesting, I do a video on it. Okay, it's been a while since I've done many though because I've been focusing on doing my readings. Right, so yeah, I have noticed that because of the ascension process, God, source, goddess and God, divine, whatever you want to call it, okay, it is sick to death of people taking advantage. Okay, and they take advantage by doing this work to feed their ego or to be greedy and see how much money they can get out of people. Okay, it does go off. Okay, if you don't want to believe that, that's perfectly fine, but don't be surprised if you get taken advantage of. Okay, so that includes spending thousands of pounds on development groups only to find that you haven't really got that very far, or getting stuck in development groups whereby they'll have some kind of cult-based leader who just wants to siphon off your energy and tell you that you're not good enough to step out on your own and kind of keep you in that circle and loop. It does go off. Okay, like I say, I'm here to shine the light, and the irony of it is I'm not love and light at all. Right, okay, back on point, Richard. So yeah, so there is a growing trend at the moment, and it tends to be, not always, but it tends to be the mediums who either do what we call platform work, whereby they stand up in front of an audience and they pass on messages, or they go to kind of spiritualist type churches whereby they have some kind of authority over people. This is one of the reasons why I don't like spiritual churches. Okay, I've never been, but from what I've heard, it's too structured. It's too structured, and you get people who come along, and you know they'll come in like they're God's gift basically, and they'll do their talks and stuff like that, and they've completely missed the point. You know what I mean? They've structured it like a Christian church, and that's not spirituality, because spirituality isn't a religion. Anyway, again, that's a generalised point, so let me get down my neck. Right, they tend to be those types of mediums. Now, the reason, in my opinion, is that, you know, to do that kind of work, to stand up in front of people and to deliver that, you do have to have charisma, and you do. And there is a certain amount of showmanship involved in it, and there is. Okay, you have to be good at it. I don't do it because A, I'm not a showman, and B, my mediumship doesn't work like that. So just to name a couple of really good ones that I know in this area, okay, who do it, they're funny, they're good, and they're doing it for the right reasons, okay. So you've got Kirsty Selleck, so please look her up. You've got Adrian Dobson, please look him up, and then you've got Rick Paul. Now he does it in a slightly different way because he's not so much of a spiritual medium, but yeah, they do it for the right reasons. The problem is there's a lot of them out there, like I say, who are just doing it to feed their ego. Now, what I have noticed is that because they are doing it to feed their ego or to make lots of money, they are losing their abilities, okay? One that I've heard of will do this platform work and go 100 miles an hour and blah, 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 I'm getting this from spirit, blah, 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 and then they're off to the next person. They don't give anybody a chance to react, okay? Now, because of this, okay, these mediums are losing their abilities, so they are dipping into kind of darker stuff. They're dipping into darker energies. Now, for me, source, if you want to call it that, is both light and dark, okay, and you can access either, okay, and you can feed off it. Because they're so bothered about keeping their status, they're feeding off this darker stuff, okay. So they're going round, I've been psychically attacked a number of times now. I'm sick to death of it, but, I can take it, I'm strong enough, but it's just not very nice. Why should I? So yeah, they're either forcing and just delivering shit to people, okay. I mean, there's another one whereby, I've done events before and I go outside to have a vape and people come out going, oh, they didn't actually pass on any messages, they just spoke about themselves for half an hour or whatever. It's because they can't do it anymore. The other thing is that they're now desperately scrabbling around to find other things to do, and they're taking other people's ideas and they're saying, you know what I mean? And again, for me, like I say, if you can't do it anymore, just give it up, because you're not getting or understanding the reason why we do this, okay? Now, I get that a lot of tarot readers and mediums don't take it quite as seriously as me, and I get that, okay? If you're passing on messages from past loved ones, you are doing a beautiful, beautiful thing, okay? And it does help to change people's lives, but I think some of you have missed the point. Some of you don't realise that, okay? You don't realise that you have the ability to change people's lives, okay? The other thing is, with some forms of mediumship, myself included, with my psychic work, it is not a direct line, okay? It is not clear communication, and you get a feel about something, and you have to kind of go with it. So just to give you an example, when I'm doing my tarot, if I'm doing a reading for somebody, and they've just said, I want a general reading, and it's looking like a toxic karmic relationship of some sort, my logical mind goes partner, okay, and it does, and it always will do. However, I try and keep it general, so I say it could be a partner, it could be a family member, it could be a boss, because it's down to the person having the reading to decide, okay. I've done them before where my logical mind's going, oh, husband. And at the end of the reading, the person's gone, oh yeah, that really resonates, it was my mother. I'm talking about my mother, okay. So, the problem is that sometimes when you're in your ego, okay, and you don't want to admit you're wrong and you think you're right about everything, then it can take you down this path, and then you start saying shit, okay, and you start saying shit and you start forcing your agenda, forcing your narrative. Classic one is, mediums who hate men because they've had a bad experience. So every time there's kind of like that example I just gave, every time there's a kind of mention of toxic coercive relationship, oh, it's your husband, he's cheating on you, he's doing this, he's doing that. That's wrong. That's fucking wrong, okay. Yeah, point being, just be wary, because a lot of these mediums are just feeding their ego, okay? And like I say, they're now scrabbling around and they're trying this and they're trying that and they're trying the other. It is perfectly fine to develop your skills. It is perfectly fine to go into something else, but just be wary, okay? Just be very wary. Do not trust anybody who is banging on about how great they are, okay? Do not trust anybody who's saying, oh, I do this and I do that and I'm amazing, I'm wonderful, because it's just all ego-based, and it really, really is. Yeah, so I'm going to have to leave it there because I'm almost at the 10-minute mark. I'm going to go and do another video shortly. It'll probably be released the following day about competition. Quite a big one at the moment. So yeah, it is going off. Now, if you are one of these mediums and you're watching it, like I've said before, please pack it in, because, karma's a fucking bitch and Source will give you a good, wrap around the knuckles, slap up the arse, okay? If you've lost your abilities, question why, If it's gone, there is a good chance it can come back, but you've got to shift your perspective on this stuff, okay? Don't be thinking about yourselves and your bank balance all the time, okay? It's okay to make money, okay? It's okay to make a decent amount of money if you're good at this, but don't get greedy. Don't take advantage of people just to feed your greed and your ego, okay? Like I say, there are lots of brilliant mediums out there who do this work, okay? So please don't think, I'm targeting everybody who does platform work. It's not like that. It's just a few of them. They are losing their abilities, and Source is going to give them a spanking, okay? Until next time, ta-ta.